Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Yes, it has been such a long time, and I'll address my absence in my next makeup video. However, today's video is a little bit different, and probably something you're not used to seeing, though it's a part of my life and I would love to explore and share along with my insights by means of social media. Anyway, here is my completed Book of Shadows, rather a completed volume 1, as I have now moved on to another book. Periodically you may see some black boxes on your screen, but they're just for my privacy. Here is something I'd probably call a mega sigil, compound sigil, master sigil. I don't really know what the real word for it is right now, but it's basically a bunch of phrases and sigils packed into one to protect my book. And if you want to see me delve into chaos magic and sigil working in another video, I'll definitely do that because it's such a major part of my practice. You'll probably notice that there are little bits and pieces throughout this book that are, if you are familiar with bullet journaling, this book is a bullet journal. It's just a format that I've really come to prefer over the last decade of being a witch. And as you saw on that last page, I had a key and legend, which to be honest I didn't really end up using. But what I did enjoy using was this grid spacing cheat sheet, which lots of people have in their bullet journals. It really helps with measuring things, especially if you're a perfectionist like me. And also, you know, when I bought this book, I bought some stickers to go along with it because at the time I was really very highly inspired by bullet journaling videos, but I didn't really intend for this book to sort of have the exact format of a bullet journal. It wasn't really a daily journal. It was a book of shadows at the end of the day, so yeah, as it goes through you can see that it becomes less and less akin to a bullet journal and more just, you know, a place where I document my studies and my practice, and it becomes one of the most important tools to, you know, a witch's journey. As you can see here, I've got the Elder Futhark and a whole page of runic writing. If you want to translate this, I'll follow you on Instagram. But yeah, I'm not reading what it says. From memory, it's just sort of my dedication to this journey and to this craft. And here is my year ahead spread. I love to do this in every single book, and then at the end of the year I come back and highlight the things that happened or what really resonated with that time period. And each month I also pull a demon card from my demon tarot deck, which in all honesty has given me some of the best insight out of any tarot deck I've ever owned. And turning over we have the Sabbats, or more formally known as the Wheel of the Year. And I don't really consider myself a Wiccan as such anymore, but I do still enjoy following the Wiccan holidays, as they have always made more sense to me because I'm in the Southern Hemisphere, and for instance, Yule is celebrated in the middle of the year because Yule is the winter solstice. I follow them as they should be in my view because they ought to come naturally as the seasons change. However, I will say it's kind of isolating because everyone's sort of celebrating Samhain and Yule in the Northern Hemisphere, you know, as Halloween and Christmas, or what we know those holidays to be. And that's just not right for the Southern Hemisphere. Everything here is reversed. And I just wish more people knew that. But anyway, that is a deeper topic we can delve into in another video. But here are the Sabbats, which never change. They are the moon phases. They are not different in any hemisphere. This is also a topic that, to be honest, like, I love the moon, but I hate writing about it because it just takes so long. Here are the elements, which we all know: water, earth, fire, air, and spirit. Just a little bit of information, and they each have a personally designed sigil. And this is the elemental trials, which not a lot of people know about, but it's more so for a coven setting, which I'm not in anymore. Here is a short oath to witchcraft and the beginning of a little Egyptian mythology section in my Book of Shadows. Egyptian mythology has always been in my life growing up. I love it. I don't know why. It just speaks to me so much. And as a matter of fact, I found a scarab beetle a few years ago. New South Wales and Queensland were having these horrible fires and storms and all sorts of crazy stuff, and all these bugs and creatures got blown down to Victoria, and there was a scarab beetle in my backyard. It was honestly so incredibly cool, so I wrote about it. And then moving on, we have a whole page about Anubis. he's, you know, one of the more common of the Egyptian gods, but you know, he's been in my life since childhood. I remember my sister made this little book about Egyptian mythology and I read it and copied it, and I just, ever since then, it's just been ingrained in my brain, and he's never left me. And moving on, we have Isis, which I considered my mother goddess for a very long time. She's great to work with, a bit intimidating, but yeah, she's great. Then we have Bastet, which was another goddess I kinda looked into for a little bit. Then we have a whole spread on the Book of the Dead, which, oh my gosh, was it hard to find information on this, because the Book of the Dead isn't actually one singular book. It is more so a term used for many, which we can get into that in another video. And here we have some stuff about Levian Satanism. Don't be shocked, I don't worship the devil, ironically, even though I have a demon tarot deck. But if you know anything about Levian Satanism, you would know that the devil doesn't exist. I do not follow Christian or Catholic beliefs. I don't believe in Jesus. I don't believe in God. Therefore, I do not worship the devil. I actually have some pretty intense religious trauma from my childhood. Levian Satanism has sort of taught me something about myself. The devil, quote unquote himself, is not so much of a figure, it is more so a way of living, a freedom, an expression, a self-worshipping, rather than worshipping some omnipotent figure. But all in all, I do not disrespect someone or discriminate someone based on their religion. Religion is a choice, and I respect all people as long as you don't harm anyone as a result of your beliefs. But anyway, that topic is a bit deep. Here is my Lammas ritual. In the very beginning I was a high priest of a coven, but a lot of my rituals can be altered to a solitary witch's practice. Oh, hold on a minute, are you guys ready for one of my favourite pages? It is my Equinox spread. He is my ultimate father god, and this image of him is also modelled off of a YouTuber. I wonder if anyone will know who it is. And here we have a full moon ritual, which I've done many times. I've also done many variations of moon rituals. The Witch's Pyramid, which, you know, if you're starting out with witchcraft and stuff like that, this is something you should probably look into because it's pretty interesting. And at first I didn't initially find out about it until I was really deep in my research, so yeah, go have a look at it. And here we have the Charge of the God, which isn't really one of my favourite spreads, kind of ugly to me. But yeah, on the next page we've got how to write a spell. And here also is something I kind of was inspired by bullet journaling. It's just basically what I was watching in those 2 months of that time of the year. I think in hindsight it is good to do those sorts of things because it does make the book more personal to you. And on this page I sort of spread my birth month out as sort of like a calendar because I had so much to do that month. But ironically, everything got cancelled because this was the very month that COVID really hit my state. So yeah, it's kind of ironic that that's the only month that I really spread out like that, yet it was the catalyst to everything. It's actually so interesting to look back on that. Here is a little section about vampires, which I loved to design. It's another one of my favourite sections. Yes, I know vampires aren't real, but there's a lovely little mythology to go along with them, and again, it's something that's really been in my life. I was intensely bullied in primary school because I was quite pale and I was never there and everyone called me a vampire, so you know, I just accepted it. And just from then on, it's just been a part of my life. And honestly, being called a vampire isn't the worst thing, right? And I guess to this day it does ring true to some aspects of my life, so there you go. This page on the left isn't finished, and more so, I guess the page on the right isn't finished either. I don't even remember what I was going to put on the left page. Here we have the Mabon ritual, our second harvest, and another demon tarot interpretation for April. Here we have how to make a smudge stick and their history. Now, I don't really use them anymore unless I make them by hand. I do have an old big one from many years ago I'm still yet to finish, but they're not something I actively buy because they're not from my culture. And here we have a Samhain ritual, which I have conducted many times. Here on this page, would you believe, is pomegranate juice. Oh my god, the colours it turns is absolutely beautiful. The ritual entails using pomegranates and apples, and if you cut an apple a certain way, it shows you the 5-pointed star. So here I've just used it with some pomegranate juice to stamp on my page. And here we have just got some brief stuff on working with shadow or your shadow self, which is a very interesting page and it took me a very long time. But you know, that's a given, it's a part of the process when it comes to having a book of shadows. A lot of the work I put into it is, you know, it becomes like art therapy or meditative. It's very nice and relaxing to do some of this stuff. Here we have another Demon Tarot card, and cleansing, consecrating and charging objects. Then we have the Yule Ritual, which as you can see I took like 2 months to complete because during the winter I get very slow and unmotivated and mental health really hits me hard around that time of year. It's like that for a lot of people. Plus I live with some intense chronic pain, so yeah, anyone who lives with that knows that it gets much worse during the winter. And look, even here, the next page is the very next Sabbat. Like, I didn't even put any information between, like, 2 months. This page I actually did and recorded for a video with the intent to post it a couple of years ago, but I lost the footage. It was very, very sad. Here is the ritual for a star, the spring equinox, which is pretty short. Then we've got some information on crystal grids, which I then designed some. These are the most visually pleasing pages I have. And by golly do they work. Both times I've used this employment grid, it has worked. Also, behind this big black box you see on the screen is just a past life regression that I'd rather keep private. Here is a little spread on sex magic, which I don't even know if I'm going to have to censor this, but it's following my Beltane ritual, which I don't know why was not, like the little section of film was missing. Here is probably the first spell in my Book of Shadows, and we're up to like page 100 and something, but I don't write spells in my book unless I've done them and then they've worked. I don't just go writing stuff in willy-nilly like some of these kids do these days. Oh my god, a year has passed. Here is my 2021 year ahead spread, which I used the demon cards to do. And then this is where a little bit of information about chaos magic begins, making sigils, activating sigils, you know, so on and so forth. Then leading on to my litho ritual, which I then actually have a summer solstice tarot spread, which is a little bit different to all my other Sabbat rituals. Then a whole page for the full moons and new moons of the year, which I always think is a little important for a Book of Shadows. Then just a little bit of dream stuff. I was dreaming about spiders and scorpions at the time. Yet another page that I didn't complete. Then moving on to Hagstones, which my father actually found at his place of work and I still have it. That was the inspiration as to why I started writing about them. And here we've got a gentle hex, which is another spell. I don't ever curse someone with the intent to harm. This is more so just, you know, if I deem someone to be someone who needs to wake up to their actions and take some responsibility. Then here we got just a couple of recipes, followed by a counter curse and protection sigil. The reason why I've covered them is because they're actually personal to myself and my loved ones. Then we just have the 7 days of the week and their magical correspondences and the 25 laws of Magick. Following that, I've just got a page of all the incense that I own and their correspondences. I had to add this image in post because I think the 2 pages got stuck and yeah, as I turned the page, it got skipped. After that, we've just got my personal natal chart report and a little interactive pocket. Couple of reflections written in runes and some information about witches' bottles. And this, by now, this book was like falling apart. I'm actually going to put this Lemon and Pins charm page in my new book. This was sort of another thing inspired by bullet journaling, but I never finished it. Now we're getting to a point where the book is sort of coming to an end, and I've used the rest of it for chaos magic, a lot of scribbles, stuff that I'm putting in my new Book of Shadows. Here I'm just showing you the bullet journal pages themselves. I mean, once you write and draw on these pages, the bullets really do disappear. And here we are at the end. Here's a couple of sticky notes that I used for listing, and this cute little like library card inspired thing which I haven't filled out yet. It's so cool. It's a cool little addition that I added to my book. But yeah, here we are. I can't believe we made it. This whole book is basically 2 years of my practice. And what a journey it has been. Here is my new book, volume 2 of my practice, or Book of Shadows I should say. I'm going to be uploading some videos of me working in it and some topics and stuff I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So yeah, if you want to stick around for that, like, comment, subscribe if you want to, and share with your friends. Anyway, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!